Welcome back, everybody, to round 3 of the GenCon Regional License Exam. I'm Aspira, and returning, we have Tam Cardwell coming with us for this round 3. Tam, how you feeling going into this?
I'm excited. I'm excited. Two powerhouses of the format. We've got All Might 2 versus Jiro. We're going to see some of the biggest attacks we've seen yet. All Might pumping every single move by 2, maybe 4. And then Jiro, the bigger her strings are, the bigger she rocks out. So it's going to be massive. Maybe it could be done in 2-3 attacks.
Could be. I mean, Jiro's that deck that time and time again finds its way into top cut placements all the time. But always the bridesmaid, never the bride is kind of the situation here. But nevertheless, consistently shows that it's able to perform, able to push aggro. And All Might 2, not as present, but every time it shows up, you have to be wary. You have to be careful. On Fire demands full attention because if not, it will punch you in the mouth.
I always lose to All Might 2. I always lose to All Might 2. It's incredibly cool, incredibly fun.
Yeah.
It presses a lot of buttons, and I'm excited to see it press buttons here today.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to see a lot of card draw. We're going to see a lot of responses back and forth. And, you know, on both sides, we could see some long chaining here. So we're going to see a lot of push and a lot of exciting plays as they kind of try and fight each other out to see who can be able to gain tempo. It's going to be a tempo game. I think, you know, these kinds of games are always dictated around who's able to put the other one in kind of like back to the wall and then make them feel too uncomfortable to try and go all in, I think is usually kind of how you present a lot of advantage early on in these kinds of matches.
That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
So it looks like Jiro gets to open it up, playing out 4, possibly 5 foundations. 6 foundations.
Oh,
actually insane. We gotta build 6.
Some of us
Power
just
is a 0 to
build different, yo.
Ooh, apparently Jiro's one of them, huh? This should be the biggest, craziest red flags for All Might to wowzers. Look at those heroic lineages.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
Absolutely
exclusive.
gorgeous. I think the second time around that we are seeing the Gen Con exclusive lineages. I heard so many players saying the moment I get my hands on them, I'm swapping them into my deck in the middle of the tournament.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So respond to the build 4. It's all Ida all the way down, and we're waiting for Jiro. So I want to say I was talking to Mitchell in between rounds. This is a slightly modified version of the Jose Narono deck that was taken to Orlando. I want to say that he changed up 6 or 7 cards or something.
Right.
And as teammates with Jose, the way that he's talked about the deck is you kind of don't really get to decide when you go in.
Once your hand gives it to you, that's when you're going.
That's when you go. So it's going to be pretty obvious when are we popping off, when are we not. Otherwise, it's just going to be build.
Yeah,
build.
I mean,
like our name is Robert.
I mean, we had a wonderful build turn 1, and it was positioned to potentially have an aggro turn, but without the sculpting, and like you said, without seeing the orange, you're just, okay, I guess this is just not the turn. And then the deck will give you the sign.
Correct. We currently have -5 damage on board from Jiro by just pressing a couple of buttons, both the resistances as well as the self-sacrifice, and that's 4 + 1 for the rest of every attack, right? And so as we take and we see this, Dan's gonna have to really push through and sling a lot of moves without a lot of interaction from Jiro, which is what kind of All Might wants. All Might's one of those characters that kind of wants a little bit of pushback, or else he doesn't get that free +2 damage on the next one, right?
Right. Yeah, so Daniel over here has good foundations, but not a lot of variety and options.
Correct.
So he's going to be playing a very honest game here as he presents kind of his hand throughout his card pool.
Correct. And the big thing after that All Might wants is he wants to get momentum, and so it incentivizes him to attack as early and as often as possible. And as you look at Jiro having this unbelievable wall, she kind of gets to say, I don't want you to hit me, I don't want you to touch me, so you don't get said momentum. Checking a 3 is going to hurt, even though Corn Frog takedown does not count towards progressive difficulty. Checking a 3 and then Jiro stacking who knows what on top means that we have to wear options. If there's a 3 and I check poorly, I might just, if Jiro's ready,
call it.
it's time to pop off, and I'll put my hand down and just let her play the game. But we're going for it. We're playing it on 5,
right, calling it,
and it checks. So there's the mind games with Jiro, right? Nine times out of 10, whenever you stack with Jiro, everybody always just stacks the 3 on top, right?
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like if you take the gamble, if you take the risk, and you check the 5, there's not the 3 on top afterwards.
Yeah, and then
like
you
we
just
know.
get. But it's interesting how Jiro's enhance kind of switches up depending on the deck because you have to mitigate. Okay, all right, my opponent, how many draws do you have? Am I just being a little complacent and letting you get draw into a free attack?
Right.
But then the mind games, yeah, you could. There are actually a couple of times where I've opted to leave the 5 on top because I'm like, I'd rather his attack after that be the terrible check,
Makes sense.
And it's just
Makes
like
sense.
it's the amount of information gain that Jiro just kind of gets
Yeah.
and is able to force your opponent into these really tough positions is huge benefit to her gameplay style.
100%. Opted to take the looks like 3 damage from the for GT Wave, which is amazing because now we get to draw a bunch of cards.
Mm-hmm.
As All Might potentially draw 2, and we have an In the Typhoon hitting the table, which I think is going to be actually the most important card on All Might's board. It says discard 2 cards. You block this move. No block necessary.
Mm-hmm.
All Might's allowed to pay for that with 1 momentum. Discard a momentum, draw a card. I'll choose not to block this one to draw a second one. That Cannon Blast at the end that was coming for 45. It's blocked.
Yep. Very solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we're calling it here and passing back over to Mitchell. And let's see what the deck graces him with now. Gray, orange, and orange. So I think I saw 2 Unwaverings there in his hands.
Yeah, beautiful flow card, getting the later turns set up. That in tandem with passing the torch is going to be build in a card that build an asset that we want, as well as draw 2 without any sort of real commitment. In crazy power plays, and the fact that we have the second Unwavering says that we get to draw even more cards. It's very, very good.
So here comes the quick create. Be able to press a little of incidental advantage, turn over turn now. And yeah, getting that draw. So we got Mr. Predictions over here, calling the play-by-play.
All right, so we are playing this is a 5 damage move. I think it's okay for us to kind of just leave it, right? I think it's interesting we didn't use the second. I guess we can't use passing the torch twice, right? Because
yeah,
we can't play. I was just ready for him.
Yeah, you're just go into it.
We're in for it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because Jiro, obviously, you give Jiro 1 or 2 moves. It's the same thing as like All Might, where like the momentum helps a lot. Jiro doesn't need it as much,
right.
But the difference between a Jiro that has 1 or 2 momentum and doesn't is night and day, especially with sound waves being able to kind of create these loops that deal a massive amount of damage.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're on that staff strike though.
We're going for it. Here it is. Okay, so we've got staff strike coming in, and this is going to be a card that really gets to leverage the responsibilities on Jiro. Response: after you play a weapon attack, it gets speed, and after you play a charge attack, it gets damage for each card currently in your card pool. So the big detriment to staff strike normally is this kind of just slow, right?
Yeah.
It's 4 for 6. It's a cool flow card, lets you draw cards, have these not count, but this is a 7 for 6. It's probably not getting blocked, right?
More likely than not, these are real numbers here on this card, and that's the thing. The longer Jiro goes, like a lot of characters kind of end up stressing out over time because they have less abilities to be able to trigger to kind of push their stuff. No, Jiro's like, the longer I go, the worse and worse this gets.
Correct.
And add on to that the fact that Staff Strike are going to make these next couple of cards played easier to play,
right?
And you're just buffing up those stats.
Yeah, very, very good. Opt to respond to the heroic lineage here.
It's now or never. It's now or never.
8 damage. No reason to take that for free.
Yep, and but we do have a following Unraving afterwards, which is both a charge and a weapon,
correct,
meaning that it'll get both the damage home and the speed bump. So I agree here with that lineage. I mean, odds are this is probably your best opportunity to be able to utilize it before you might just be too far down the line to be able to.
Pretty sure I also saw us grab a cannon, and so this is bare minimum. This turns we're gonna get rid of that in the Typhoon, so that next turn when we find another Unwavering, it's gonna pay off for us.
Okay, so block with the Nitro. The fun thing about the Nitro block, if I remember correctly, is that it can clear itself from the card pool, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It says response card pool or any hands card pool, do a thing.
Yeah.
Which means you can just press that
Just
button
do it.
and pay the cost. My attack will get powerful too.
Yeah.
I guess it's gone.
And here comes the Unwavering here, and for massive speed, we're getting an additional +6/+6.
I like this play from Mitchell. He opted to play the foundation beforehand because he thinks that +1/+1 that we get on the rest of the moves is going to possibly make us want to use that in the Typhoon.
Yep.
And it's possible he can all the way up to 24 damage if we really so choose. We will just have to see.
And so we draw another card and then bringing it back up.
That card can't ready the passing torch again.
E. When we move too quickly.
When we move too quick. That's
Yeah,
okay. It would just be committed, and we would just ready a different resource.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's not how that works. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? That's I guess
All right.
So in the My Hero card game, if a player draws a bonus card, they have to reveal their hand, and their rival gets to select one card out of it, and then it gets removed. Not the infraction that happened there, but we're not at the table.
Yep. So there goes the cannon. All right, we'll be bumping up the Unwavering, getting it into 12. And that's it. Force the Typhoon out.
Force the Typhoon. That's great. I mean, if we have another Staff Strike, we could play it on the 6. And even if we check poorly, we've got the Advice for Winners that would let us recheck to try again, right? So, like, we could see, I mean, if we have that combined with one, maybe 2 more moves.
Whoa.
Ooh, this is pretty good.
Whoa.
Hey, it's on a 5. Hey, we got it.
So this currently sits at a gorgeous 12/12.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And we're building in the quick create. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean that's the power of like draw 3, draw 4 on on this turn, right? We still have foundations in our hand to like defend ourselves. Like there's a lot of moving parts going on. Up to ready the it can't be fixed with Unwavering Slash and get that bonus draw, and we got to figure out what to swing with now.
Yep. So I mean, you know, just taking this as is half of Daniel's life total. But we'll get the opportunity to crack back them. I will say though, Mitchell being able to draw cards very efficiently means that he's been consistently being able to keep his hand up as he keeps on pushing through. So it'll give him some defensive options going into Daniel's next turn if we get there. But massive damage here going all the way down to 11 on Daniel's side.
Yeah, no way we can play another one. We are.
Yeah, I think that's what we call it.
You know what? Just barely. We'll call this a successful turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, get rid of the end of the Typhoon. Actually, still hit for another 13 damage. Now the onus is on Daniel with this quote unquote weak position of Mitchell.
Yep. So very likely here, Mitchell very much incentivized to block, not only to mitigate damage, but also it provides extra reviews, right? Like he needs to dig in and find those oranges. So
right, 100%. Yeah, like. You got to do everything you can in order to help the deck give you the hand that you need.
Yep.
Starting off the Frigid Heatwave, which is insane for our character. Kind of impossible to not pass, strictly based on the fact of we use League Interview to give ourselves a bonus to our check, and we're about to draw so many cards. One from Calling for Backup, and then 2 more from Frigid for sure. There's no way we don't have 6 ranges in our
and then
our discard pile, excuse me.
And there's the cards. There's the draws.
Ever seen a 9-hand size All Might? Not even All Might 1 gets to do that.
Yeah, no, he does not. All right, we hit
top 4 for All Might. It seems since the last attack, I think that's his structure. He goes 4 from All Might, then 3 from Frigid.
Makes sense to me.
Here,
and we do find the one,
and we found it. A giant ice walk coming in. So although a slow move, a very heavy hitting move.
Yeah, and I mean it would only have to be off zone for it to do something. But here we did find the zone from Mitchell here, so fully blocked.
There's a giant ice wall coming in. A 3 low for 5. If we could get that card pulled up. It is a big stun 2, and you can discard a momentum to have another stun 2. It's going to be coming in for plus. Did we use the resistances on the last attack? Did I miss that enhance?
I think he's committing them down.
Interesting.
And there we go. Okay, so
Okay.
we're using it here. Yeah.
So hit the stun 2, but we do get to build in 2 face downs. Kind of threatening, kind of scary, because those cards come in from the top of the deck, and we are missing attack cards with no real way to get them to our hand. We have to destroy them with something like self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then recycle them back. So I believe we've got +2 damage. I bet we triggered a resistance on the last attack, which is why this is not for 9 currently, and only for 7.
Yeah, and I'm not against like Daniel here forcing the stun here, and because you're gonna have to proc them eventually at some point. Might as well get them out of the way. If you're playing a Searing, then he'll just deal with them anyway. So
love this play. So this is a confident counter strike.
yeah.
It's a 5 mid for 4 that says if the last attack was blocked, it gets +3 damage. But if the last attack was blocked, it gets +2 damage. So it's already starting at a 5 mid for 9.
Gee.
And Almight's gonna pump it up for the 2.
Those are good numbers.
You slung 13 at me on one move. Here comes 11 right back at you.
All right, the additional mills here.
Hit the -1 because of the self-sacrifice. So I guess this is only 10 this time, and we have now started to use Jiro. So I like the self-control to use Jiro later in the turn because we have the ability to mess things up as we have more progressive difficulty. If there's 2 foundations on the top, we'll know to expect what's coming. If there's 2 attacks, we can kind of stop it in its tracks with that +3 progressive. As well as prep for our next turn.
100%. I mean, it's extra information. It's kind of understanding, what potential is coming from my opponent in regards to blocks and checks. Even if I'm not setting up anything sneaky, the extra information provides you with knowledge on what the next couple of plays are going to look like.
Correct. So we have done a bit of damage reduction. One of the cool things about Quick Create is not only is it a amazing flow aggro tool, it's also a defensive piece.
Yep.
In its commit, add a card, top card from discard pile to the card pool. This attack gets +2 or -2 damage. So instead of taking this move started at 11 damage, I think we only ended up taking something like 9 from it.
All right, and going into Ice Gliding, forcing some surrender, and thinking about going beyond that, but no, it looks like we will just build the 2. We will take our Uno momentum and then pass it back over to Mitchell.
Okay.
And let's see what he draws.
So from Daniel's turn, we didn't actually get a ton of value off of what's going on. And we kind of just let Mitchell build 2 extra resources for that big stun too. And so if we find the strings, not only are things going to not count as progressive, but we actually started our turn with more foundations than we ended. So if we pop off, we're going to pop off even harder.
Yeah, it's a good spot. I mean, Daniel made progression, and he didn't really cost himself hand size for doing it, but it kind of didn't lead to a big change in tempo nor the game state. So the onus really here is on Mitchell to set the tone with this subsequent turn.
100%. One of the strongest pieces that Daniel has access to, though, is this forcing surrender. Enhanced flip, discard a non-attack card from your rivals, from either card pool, excuse me. And Mitchell's combos are all about, weaving in these foundation cards.
Yep.
Staff Strike feels way worse whenever it draws one less card, right?
Absolutely. And I think Mitchell's hand here is mostly gray, so we might just end up seeing something like a build 1 pass. No, we'll start with cannon.
We start with a cannon, and we found that Staff Strike.
There it is.
For. Yeah. The woes of a 6-hander. Responding for the +1, responding for the additional +1, and now we get to make some decisions as Daniel. We've given this move damage. Do we wish to respond to give it -speed? If we trigger 1, probably just going to be able to full block this outright. Even
I think you're fine as is, yeah.
This also might just be the poke that we had to have in order to play the other staff strike that's already in our hand, right?
True.
Like the combo does say weapon, weapon, or weapon and then foundation, and so this might just be the weapon card that we need.
Yeah.
We'll find
Oi.
our attacks.
Oi.
All 4 Waverings are gone.
Yep.
Huge kill condition, just gone. Not to mention the other cannon that we had from the judge damage here.
Yeah, quite a few painful cycles here. But we'll see. The setup could already be in hand, like you're saying, when it comes to these all strife decks or staff strike decks. All weapon cards are starter cards,
Right.
even if they might not necessarily be in the best spot as kind of your point card. But looked like there was a bit of spice here on Daniel's top.
Correct. So there's some real spice that we could do here. Since we saw the staff strike in hand, we could use self-sacrifice to destroy a foundation.
Look at the call, eh?
Commit our quick create to add it in. We know there's 2 good checks on top of our deck, and so we don't have to waste those cards getting them out of the way, right? We don't have to use both of our 2 good checks. We don't have to use one because we're fulfilling the combo requirement with the quick create.
We're in the tank.
Opted not to make that happen, though.
Okay.
Interesting. I think it was just maybe to make this a little more threatening, a little more lethal. We will see.
So we got the Sugar Rush block going into our foundation, going into presumably the Staff of Strikes. Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so we have to be able to Daniel's already ready to flip it. We got to see what we draw. So I think that the reason we didn't add that card in was number 1, this is a very blockable cannon, and we have to find 11, right? And 2, since we have draw power on our staff strike, we don't need to draw that foundation we saw was there. So let's spin the both those checks. I think that's a fine play as well. Opting to get rid of his own card. I guess he is saying that I believe you already have your combo requirements. I'm okay with you to draw or you don't have it. I'm down for you to draw 1 more so that I can make sure that I can block more. It's what a choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it comes when, at these deep tables, the high level of play, you start to stray more and more away from playing to not lose and straying, play to win.
Play to win.
Well, what is the line that gets me the victory? It doesn't matter whether I win with 1 health or 50 health.
Right.
Because, what line gets me there. So if this is the line that means that, you're providing Mitchell with the least opportunity to long-term be able to kind of close out the game, then all the better here for Daniel for, having that kind of patience.
100%. So we've slammed more cards in our card pool, which normally would be a bad thing, but because of Staff Strike's lack of progressive and the extra ability to now draw 3 cards, likelihood of us finding attacks is high, and with Jiro they're going to become very fast and very hard. But we are still digging. He says, I want more.
Yep. I believe that's a You're So Obvious I was drawn there.
Going to blocks, that was a complete block. We still have this many cards with weapons not counter to progressive. If we drew cold, then building after this is going to be very difficult, and we are all but committed out.
Yep. I don't think we're smelling all that much citrus here at the moment.
Yeah. So from here, it's now the onus is on Mitchell to figure out what defensive pieces am I allowed to build, because I did. Oh, how actually heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's tough.
Actually heartbreaking. I thought I saw all 4 of the unwaverings get removed. I must have misseen.
We definitely saw 2 for sure because they were like back to back.
Right.
All right,
This
just
would be
continuing through.
Oh, that is a weapon card, so it's on a 1 diff. And then this one will be failed. The point of that build was the extra view step.
Yep, just get rid of it.
Got to get them out of there. And we have to put these cards into our discard pile. Even if they did hit, I think we would keep them in a discard pile because we got to see them back throughout the cycle again.
Yeah. We're not in a world here where the momentum makes really any difference. And it's one of those things you realize as you start to acclimate yourself into like the deep technicalities of the game and the strategy. And it's like, oh yeah, I just cycled and I have 5 momentum. Those are 5 attacks I am not seeing again until I potentially get rid of them and cycle once more.
Correct.
The game is so wonderful at those little aha moments where things just happen. You're like, oh yeah, I guess I should think of that.
Truly a thing of beauty. Actually, the most beautiful card game I've ever played. So good. Get a cycle from Daniel though, but man, that's not very impactful.
That's very tough.
All Might 2 has about 100,000 cards in his deck.
Yeah.
So the threat of decking out is just truly non-existent.
Yeah.
Not until at least we see some sugar rushes hit the board, which
True.
we'll talk about later.
The sequencing here to get the Frigid out is a little bit tough because you did have to cycle away. So it's possible, but you'd have to hit Well, I mean, okay, so we could line up 6. We've hit 3 off of 4. If we hit 3 more, we're drawing.
We're drawing, and this move gets +6 more damage.
So I mean, technically it's possible. Every single hit here needs to be 1.
I don't want to be, but I'm officially biased. I want it to happen.
Yeah. I felt a lot more confident about the mysticism of it before we hit those mill 4.
We also might have already milled our 3. I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think presumably the play is what forced it. I have the short-term memory of a goldfish.
It does make sense for us to have already done it because Mitchell did use the ability on Jiro to look at the top, and he wouldn't have pulled that trigger if there was a chance for Daniel to get those cards out the top. So that might have been what caused us to mill as opposed to the league interview, which is the play that I thought happened.
Oh yeah, okay. So if we're just going right into blocks here,
opts to commit Jiro. Jiro and the passing says I have enough cards. Oh. And it was a 3. All right, committer 2. This is
Exploding Pride.
Exploding Pride. Yeah, a card that has always messed me up forever.
I know my card names.
Probably the thing I'm worst at the game. That and sideboarding. Just remember what the names of cards are. Really good that we don't have any momentum because this card gets to burn us for the bonus.
Yeah.
And the fact that we are so low on Ready Foundations on Jiro's side means that we're going to start drawing a lot of cards from All Might from these moves not being blocked.
And on this mill out, there's that damage bump.
Yeah, Exploding Pride is not very threatening at a 4 low for 3 with just a little bit of burn, but as soon as All Might makes this, a 7 damage move,
sizable,
it gets very, very spooky.
Gets Jiro down to single digits.
+1 speed if blocked, gets more stats and then more stats. Looks like choosing to respond.
Whoa,
with both
okay,
relics.
here we go.
You're not blocking this one. I am good with it.
Lineage is such a good card.
There we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have a 5 damage move coming next. It's game. And as Jiro, we only have 1 more resource ready, as well as the 1 quick create, which does mean that it has to be a 7 difficulty move.
We opt to fail it.
Block it. Down to 5. We need 7 big ones.
Ooh, here's the Ice Storm.
This is not lethal?
At the moment, no.
It'll get +2 from All Might, and then -2 from Quick Create, and we'll go to 1.
Sugar Rush, maybe?
Sugar Rush would be nuts. Sugar Rush is an action that says remove 10 cards from your discard pile. So cycle once, and +2 speed, +4 damage. Basically, hey, I'm down to cycle once to have an extra attack.
Yep. Okay, so here we go. Got the mill out here. We're gonna get the damage bump and then right instantly into that quick create. Gonna pump that back down. Still representing just one, and we get the one, and we failed the
Oh, my
check.
goodness.
Oh my god.
Wowzers.
Daniel's saying I'm finishing this right now, but his deck's saying no, you are not.
A cardinal sin. You never leave him at one.
Oh, those are the most feel bad situations. All right, let's. Oh, there's the South Strike,
and we draw. Okay, so
I think
we only have to find 11, and there's actually only piece of defense that Daniel has is drawing cards combined with the league interview. But with this big stun 2 coming through, the league interview is not going to help us at all.
Yeah, this is gonna be super painful. He just has the gas. He has the Staff Strike. He's gonna be able to extend. He's gonna be able to draw cards. This is a position where this is just the crackback. This is textbook crackback here.
100%. And with that, we're going to go ahead and give it. We probably just let our opponent know, hey, I've got lethal. We can go to the next one. There's no reason to keep playing it out.
Right.
Yeah. What an unfortunate check from Daniel. So my question there is, what did Mitch do to win that game, right?
I think a big part was just setting the tempo early. You know, hey, I'm going to push you and I'm going to stress you. I'm going to force you to use the cards that you're trying to hold out for late game because you can't afford to take the damage that you can now. So, forcing the Typhoon out and then being able to even continue past that, because there are some plays where you kind of line yourself up to get rid of something that'll be painful for you late game. So like Typhoon, like I'm just going to make this play to be able to set up getting rid of that. And a lot of decks or a lot of times players just end up having to stop there. Being able to push past the fact that you got rid of the thing that you're trying to deal with right now and still being able to push the tempo your way by taking half of your opponent's health is kind of what allowed Mitchell here to just kind of set the pace. And Daniel on the crack. And for what it's worth, I don't actually necessarily disagree with Daniel's line here. Like I think he was very much back to the wall. I think there was recognition there that if Jiro pushes for another big string, he doesn't have the defensive capabilities, most likely than not, to be able to kind of prevent all of it.
Yeah.
So to just kind of just go for it. So I think that's really kind of where the opportunity came in. And then, unfortunately, like you said, the Cardinal sin, you leave him at 1. Yeah. All right, you know what's coming back.
I think Mitchell played the match all but perfect and would have lost if Daniel had hit a couple of clutch 5 checks instead of the 3s, right? I think the only reason Daniel lost is because he checked 2 3s on that last kill turn, or he checked a 3 early and put himself in a slightly weak position. I don't think there was any lines or plays that Daniel did. Maybe, depending on when we drew that Crow and Frog, playing it before having it not count as progressive, yada yada. Right. There might have been some lines there, but that's hindsight.
Yeah,
sure.
But I mean, like we were saying, huge ups on Daniel for effectively what was playing for the win. It's not about not dying, because eventually you're just not going to be able to keep up gas, but putting himself in a position where realistically, like you said, just a couple of checks that kind of lined up a little bit cleaner for him, and he was very much in a position to be able to close out this game 1 as opposed to Mitchell.
I love that. So we'll see what kind of builds Daniel gets to get. It was all the way down. We're starting off with some more consistent draw power.
All right.
It's all draws, baby. Hits another solid build 4 as Mitchell gets to decide if he wishes to review by discarding a card and then drawing up to that printed hand size +1 for going second.
So we'll see. We'll see if we got a build. Was it 5 or 6 all over again?
I think if we build 6 on turn 2 against All Might 2, we might be in a pretty rough position.
I'd like to think that's a little disrespectful, and you're like,
although,
I mean,
would be cool.
Okay. Very fair here. So responding back with a build 4 in his own right here, and we'll see how Daniel can kick off his second turn here. How much aggression he can get, and we'll kick it off with the Frigid here.
Hey. Second verse, same as the first. This time checking significantly better. Not the 3, but the 5. And Jiro has significantly less resources to deal with what's going on, right? But whenever Daniel saw himself in this position last time, Mitchell had twice the board that he has now, and so like the likelihood of this, maybe this one doesn't go through because of the specialist, but like the next one, probably going to hit.
Yeah, more likely than not. I mean, we did get the mill here of the 3 ranges, which kind of puts us up to 6 now. So we'll get just the draw 2 for free here.
How crazy. Yeah, people thinking that these good throw all mights or something. Nah, 8 hand size all might too.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. How cool. When was the last time you had a frigid heat wave as a Todoroki fan live on turn 2?
Not often, man.
Like,
It's not all that. I'm not gonna lie. Unless I'm checking none but 3s on my turn 1,
Right.
I'm really not getting there.
Right.
But like that stream luck on fridges, man. I'm telling you, I'm fairly certain at Vegas we saw turn 2 Tokiyami just kind of pop off into a frigid that drew. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I guess some people really do play different.
Right.
There's a reason they are at this table, and I am back here talking about it.
Correct. Yeah. Love that. Love that. All right, we are using a ton of resources as Jiro in order to deal with this single fridge and be setting up for the future. Maybe we saw some poor card choices, and we opted to draw a foundation off the top, knowing that we could block this, right? But hits the breaker with +2, kind of de-incentivizes you to go for it. Maybe a little bit of a bait, right? Because we get to, as Jiro, scout out the top ones.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
And be like, yo, I'm gonna breaker you. You should probably play a foundation here because I stacked a 3. It's gonna be a 2, and then we just kind of didn't fall for it. We just like
just said okay.
we're not gonna be the number 1 hero by not playing attack cards,
True.
right? That's not what all it's about.
And that is that level of cheeky play that makes me love the return to in-person play, the faking out your opponent, the poker faces, just the reads.
The read. Man, what an insanely different game from game.
Oh,
1,
absolutely.
huh?
Yeah.
Jiro is at half health. All Might on turn 2 has 2 bonus momentum, drew an extra 2 cards, and is now building out to have a larger stage. Like this is night and day.
Yeah,
what Daniel wanted versus Mitchell.
Yeah, complete reversal of positions here. Now is very much Mitchell, who is kind of like back to the wall. And obviously would like to extend and put themselves in a more comfortable position, but has to do so carefully because if you don't hold enough to protect yourself, there's a very real chance that Daniel is just about to pop off.
And the big thing about the Jiro deck and every Staff Strike deck is you don't get to play Staff Strike on turn 2. That card has hidden text that says only playable turn 3 and on, right? It's like you check a 3 on your Staff Strike here.
That's it. That's it.
Lose. Unless. Wowzers.
You know what?
Okay. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
This Staff Strike is a fine play. If Daniel cannot deal with the Staff Strike and even the 2 attacks afterwards, it would be so incredibly surprising. We are putting ourselves in such a weak position defensively just to draw a card?
Mm-hmm.
Draw 1? There's kind of no reason to, right?
Yeah, I mean,
just hold it for the 2 mid block.
Ooh. Evil Gaze is so impactful when your opponent has basically nothing going on.
Wow. I mean, make my point harder for me. I don't think I could have pulled the Evil Gaze out of my pocket, give Daniel, and make it more poetic. Yeah, this is. Hey, you have to check 5s the rest of the.
Yeah, that's it. You just got to run hot.
But if there's a character to do it, it's Jiro, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you get to look and be like, yeah, sure, I can do it.
From here with the 5 ready foundations and a -2 speed. Ooh. We've got the strike coming in. We're going to use the hidden ability of this card that says response after you block, take 2 life or discard a card.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, more likely than not.
We do have to destroy with Evil Gaze first, though, before it happens.
Yep. So, presumably, this specialist sound is going to go.
It's... That was amazing.
Yeah.
And then respond with the strike, and we're opting to get rid of the card, I believe.
Yep.
It makes sense. All Might's got 2 momentum. We have to be.
You gotta respect it.
Careful.
You gotta respect it.
Right. From here, what does the rest of the turn look like?
We're just gonna keep going.
Checks a 5. Okay, so this is a 4 diff. We checked our 5. We do get to build a card down, and this does get plus X plus X. So this is it's a 6 low for 8 coming
Sizable
in.
attack.
That gets to rebuild us a foundation.
Makes us slightly more comfortable position.
Here is All Might's ability. I don't have a low block, so I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to choose not to block it. I'll draw a bonus card, and I'll be able to sculpt myself a little cleaner for next turn. And the 8 damage is kind of nothing when, the only damage that's happened this turn to me, I did to myself. I'm okay.
And so looks like we are just going to be taking it. So All Might going down to 19 here.
Okay. We only have one more attack that we could possibly play because of that lack of progressive with Staff Strike. But this move does not do 19, and the re-readying of 1 does not mean we get to play any more.
No, but Unwavering's decent. I mean, you're going to get, the quick create. You're going to be able to uncommit one of your foundations. You draw an additional card. It does a lot.
It does quite a bit. But it does so this is the exact point that I made, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was the hand that Mitchell was given.
Yep.
If you're given the hand, you kind of just have to go in. Really unfortunate. You don't get turn 2.
You don't get to choose how the deck plays out. The deck tells you, and then it's just up to you to sequence it correctly.
And then from there, we're forced to pass with a single foundation ready and the 2 assets. All Might has to do is find 17 damage and pass all those checks. And then there's kind of nothing that Mitchell can do. Not when we're giving +1 speed to everything with Nervous Habit.
Yeah.
We've got 14 attacks that we're allowed to pump up.
Seems decent.
Okay, so this is a 3 low for 5, soon to be 7, soon to be 4 low for 5. Hit the big stun 2, got to rebuild with It Can't Be Fixed, and now Jiro's getting a chance to look at the cool cards that they have. Interesting.
Oh, okay. A little curious, and then okay. Turns out, for what it's worth, this might just be a thing where Mitchell recognizing that, forget the info Daniel has. I just need to know if I can live. Time management, huge.
Correct.
And recognizing, if my checks are just bad enough that I'm about to take this in the mouth, or the next 2 attacks in the mouth, let's just scoop him up. Go to the next game.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
At the same time, what if he doesn't have another attack, right?
True.
You force him to play it out, but at 6 damage move now, we play one more good one. We check the 5, easy. This is for 6 damage, but we've got -4 on the board, and so we've got to have a third one, right?
Mm-hmm. Not impossible. All my draws.
All Might does draw.
Yeah, so there we go. Flood our board with that. Lower some damage. We're no longer in... well, we are, but soon, presumably, not going to be in lethal range.
Okay. Looks good, and then
there's the other one.
And we get to draw the card. Beautiful Secret Rares coming in with Nitro Explosion Ignition. Probably one of the best characters to play it, truthfully. We double draw Nitro Explosion Ignition. It's not only clearing our card pool, but it also says sometimes we draw 2 bonus cards off of All Might too.
Pretty decent. Yeah, and that's it. So the scoop up here from Mitchell. Daniel taking it down, sitting at a pretty 13 life while doing it. And looks like we're going to be heading into game 3.
So, man, we both know why Mitchell lost. He was forced to aggress on turn 2.
Zach told him, "You're doing this now."
And Daniel won because he wanted to aggress on turn 2, and he got paid off for it. Literally, the duality of the desires of these 2 decks happened in this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between, see orange, play orange, and then see orange, play orange. That's the emphasis here is the key factor in regards to how the decks played out. But that's the thing, Jiro is definitely more combo oriented. I think there's kind of those positions where, because All Might can stand alone on the power of his singular cards more handedly than Jiro, if Jiro can't bring together the combo strings that allow allow her to be able to deal the kind of damage she does, you're in these positions where if it's just a game of back and forths and of value, then Almighty is going to get there more handedly.
Makes sense.
Overall.
Makes total sense. All right, we are going into game 3. Jiro does get to go first, which means we might just have a repeat of game 1, where we're going to build out massive and then build out again. Just depends on what happens.
Yeah, 100%. I think we'll just have to see here how powerful the build is. I mean, Jiro is one of those decks where I feel you very comfortably are greedy with your, more so than other decks with your mulligans,
right?
Because you definitely just want that massive build 1 to then just turn 2, go, turn 3, go.
Right.
Yeah. If the opportunity presents itself, you want to make sure you have the resources to be able to go and extend.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. All right, let's see how the players take us on out.
And we will pick off with
Passing the Torch, one of the most impactful cards we could have played. Followed by Specialist with a Specialist. I love checking Specialist on Specialist. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
And then opts to play the next 2
Yeah,
because they're safe. And then we see another build 6.
Sure.
For 5.
Yeah. I mean,
5 is,
why not?
I guess we'll make a build.
Why not? If this is the last one's a foundation, I'll just review, get rid of it. No, it's probably not. You would have probably just played it to get rid of it instead. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same difference.
At the same time, even having a foundation, like as Jiro, we want to build twice, right? Like,
True.
we don't want that forced to go in turn 2 a second time. So let's just make it happen.
Yeah, build 4 to counteract, though. So, I mean, hey, reasonable on both ends here to be able to kind of apply pressure.
Mitchell making that hill just a little bit taller that Daniel has to climb. We build 3 more, holding 3 with a passing double specialist. Double passing double specialist. Like this is
okay. So
this is going to be
all right. This is going to be a big board game here. This is going to be just both of these players building out, saying like, okay, and massive amounts of options too, right? This is so significantly different than if both players just had like, 3 of a singular card here. But no, on Daniel's side, he's got a lot of cycling, a lot of card draw, he's got a lot of speed hate. Alternatively on Mitchell, again, similarly, a lot of draw, a lot of pressure, and then now we're going here into the capture net. So Mitchell drawing into something that's going to be able to apply pressure here, but Daniel in a good position to be able to, if he doesn't already have the defensive capabilities on him, to be able to draw into them.
Correct.
So great alignment here on both sides. Honestly, we're going to see a lot of back and forth on every attack at this point on, because both decks just have so much to do in this position.
Yeah, this could be an absolutely massive turn.
Ooh, okay.
And one of the high impact cards that we have on the board is actually that Teaki Fanatic, a card that we haven't seen yet. It says that if we want to use Latent Skill or Into the Typhoon, we're going to discard our 2 cards and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're just going to negate it. Hey, discard 2 cards to destroy your foundation.
Sure.
Neat.
Do it. Playing at Shoto 1, that was my favorite thing. Some people would just do it to try and force out the cancel. I'm like, sure, you can neg 2 cards.
Yeah, right. I'm in.
And yeah, so here, Disinformation Success drawing us another attack. And then it looks like we're shipping it there, and we're just going to take. So Daniel going down to 22 here. Presumably we're going to have a follow-up of... Okay, yeah, so there's a... Getting a little bite of that cookie, and then going into the Staff Strike now. Good check. So fantastic position here.
Yeah, this is kind of everything that Mitchell wants to is kind of asking for, and because of that Teaki that's on board, we kind of get to like not have Daniel interact with us at all. So that feels pretty good.
Yep.
Getting the plus speed, plus damage. As soon as we increase that damage, we snap respawn with Heroic Lineage. Hey, we got to make this thing slow. We're not allowed to let this touch us. Makes sense. But we need to be very nervous about the moves coming after this, right? So Oh, breaker 2 is gonna be
okay, that's
huge
hot. That's
here.
hot.
Opts to commit the 1 there in order to force the block to happen. Absolutely stunning. But we're getting rid of it.
Yeah,
with
that's fine.
That was on a 5, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Checks a 3, committing our 2 resources. This might be a little greedy.
It is. I mean, we're trying to go for a big unwavering here, I believe.
So it's either unwavering or cannon, right?
Yeah, there's the chunky one.
It's unwavering. Yes, love it.
So +6.
Yeah, this character, we said at the very beginning, huh?
Yeah.
We discarded the cannon.
Hey.
He says, I don't even need it. Oh, no.
Okay, so there's the create, and then we're going to be able to uncommit and draw as well.
Yeah, destroy for another +1 damage. We could commit quick create to add this thing in and then make our last move even bigger. And still leave the Teaki up. So in case you had any sort of counterplay that you wanted to do with that in the Typhoon, you just don't get to.
All right, and there we go. Dumping it. Yeah.
Nope. There it is.
So once again, Mitchell doing a great job of forcing out the Typhoon and then getting rid of Daniel's best tool against these kind of long strings that are available to him here.
Yeah, this is a good string, a good turn, and good heads up. I bet that Teaki might have come in from the sideboard.
Yep, and there we go. Cannon to close the game. Mitchell on Jiro, hashing it out here. Just pressing Daniel too hard and found the right cards necessary to be able to get there.
Yeah, absolutely stunning display of patience and understanding, and even whenever he's put into that hard place in game 2 of making the best of that situation and playing out the string as best we can, didn't quite get us there, but like it was still good. And I mean, it all came down exclusively to Teaki Fanatic.
Yeah,
Teaki Fanatic is the card that won Mitchell the game there. And so the fact that Daniel under the fire symbol doesn't have a way to interact with his opponent's stage is, I mean, that's a choice we get to make, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, just the threat of being able to say, yeah, no, you do not have the option to be able to dig yourself out of this is just an incredibly powerful card, and one that every single time is utilized effectively takes complete control of the board. The whole game centralizes around its cancel ability from the moment it sits there, and you're as the opponent facing it, your game plan is now, how can I put myself in a position where it's a non-factor?
100%.
And sometimes you just don't have that option, like Jiro here, just not providing the opportunity for that to be found.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, congratulations to both of our players. Well played. I'm excited to go back and rewatch this one again. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it was phenomenal back and forth.
Take a second, get things set up, and we're going to shoot it over to an interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be jumping right back in. All right, and we are back here with Mitchell. Mitchell, congratulations on your performance here. How did you feel going into this matchup versus All Might 2 on Fire?
So going into the matchup, I was like a little bit worried because the deck that I'm playing right now is like super streamlined combo, doesn't have a lot of great answers or like pre-board to throws, and All Might 2 is traditionally like throw character, right? Like it's there to eat the frappies in the tournament. So I was just really hoping I won the die roll, to be honest.
That's very fair.
Got there and found out he was on Fire, so he's not playing throws. That deck was actually super cool. Shout out Daniel. But yeah, I felt a little bit more confident since there weren't throws and my deck's not great into throw hate, but he did just throw like a million attacks in a row and draws like so many cards. It's very cool on defense as well to just let yourself get hit and then pick up something.
Yeah.
Very neat.
It was very cool. Myself and Tam, we were talking about how when it comes to this style of Jiro deck, you kind of just draw, and the deck kind of tells you like this is the kind of turn you're going to have.
Yeah.
And we saw that actually on your in game 2 in your last turn. You're just like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But the deck told me that this is what I'm doing this turn, so I just kind of have to do it.
Exactly right. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I'm gonna cycle, so I'm gonna maximize the amount of attacks I can draw. I'm gonna shove 4 foundations in my card pool, draw 4. No attacks. Got to have 1 more to kill him. Draw. It's not an attack. I guess I'm blocking. Yeah. But at that point, I'm so far in that there's no way I was gonna win that one. But yeah, for sure. It's both of us had like a weird turn where like, oh, I didn't draw any attacks. can't win on this turn.
Right.
Oh, he didn't draw enough attacks. I live at 1. It was a really cool game, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was great. A lot of back and forth. I mean, it forced you guys into this position where you have so many resources available to you, and that's really kind of where that deep interaction comes, where you guys are kind of going back and forth and trying to outplay your board.
For sure, for sure.
You know, he had the Tokiyaki on, like you had the Tokiyaki there, which basically dictated the entirety of that turn because you just forced him out of being able to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So when I looked at my hand to like assess if I could go in or not, right? Like I could just like runner 5s and then my turn would be great. But if I'm playing like for the math because of my deck list, I know I have 51 cards in the main, 14 attacks. So theoretically I'm checking 5s a majority of the time and I can count for that and just play the statistics. But like holding that hand and specifically holding the Taiyaki, because I haven't seen any of my capture nets yet, means that on my turn I can build down Taiyaki to stop into the Typhoon.
Yep.
So that just gives me a lot more options on my turn if I play a little bit slower. And he's not playing the throws, so I'm not getting my life total pressured too much if I have blocks. So that turn was just kind of like deciding when to go in or not. That's a skill that I've gotten a lot better at by just getting like beat by better players. Right? Like,
Very fair.
I test with a lot of the guys on fun stuff. Shout out Bromley and all them. But I've learned a lot. But I've learned the kind of ebb and flow of a turn, trial by fire and all that. But yeah, as far as like picking the deck for today, at Orlando, JJ was saying that the only deck in Top Cut that he was scared of was the good Jiro deck that Jose was on. So I was like, okay, well, Jiro's really cool. I don't really want to play Kirishima or Froppy, so I'm going to play that. I was testing with it. Played against Phil, who was playing JJ's exact list because he figured that a lot of people would just be using that either as a baseline or like just using it straight
as a framework.
up. Yeah. And those matchups, I was like doing pretty well because it was kind of a bit of a greedier Kirishima 2 list. But Phil refined it a little bit and never won a match after that. So I was like, well, I gotta make a few changes here. And essentially, I just posed the question to Phil. I was like, what gets this deck deeper into top cuts, or what gets this deck into a better matchup against players that are like more prepared for the meta?
Right.
I was like, what if I just put Taiyaki in the main board, change some stuff around? So I moved 2 of those to the main board, made a few changes. It's like very close to Jose's list. Well, Jose and Bromley's list.
Yeah.
Bromley made it. Jose popularized
the masterpiece. Yeah.
And here I am again playing it on stream in one of the coolest matches I've played so far. But yeah, I like the deck quite a bit. I think it has a pretty decent time in the meta right now. There's a lot of decks that are just incidentally playing Forcing Surrender, which is like why I've gotten into the habit of like first enhance combo immediately.
Yeah, just get ready, just make sure you're getting in there. Yeah.
Like you can clear my stuff, I'm gonna draw less cards, but I will be playing my turn on 5s. So just gotta have that habit. And yeah, it's been going pretty well so far.
Awesome, fantastic. Is there anything you're trying to fade going into Top Cut? We were saying back here that Jiro's always that deck that like no one ever questions Jiro being in Top Cut, but Jiro is always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was saying. Is I want to get deeper into Top Cut. Hopefully the Taiyakis get me there. Helps out a little bit in like a lot of the matchups that I've noticed I'm struggling with. Honestly, what I'm trying to fade is, I guess specifically players, less so decks.
That's fair. That's fair.
Phil Birch is kryptonite. Can't play against him. Lived with him for a year. I think my win percentage when we played, even in-house or on webcam, was like 30-70.
All right,
it was
fair enough.
I was like high rolling runner 5s and all that. But yeah, honestly, just fade the unfun stuff, guys. Everyone that's wearing a jersey, and maybe make Top Cut, get a little bit further.
All right, cool. Well, you know what? Congratulations again on your win. Well start to your week, and I hope you're the best for the future rounds.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.